Hi everyone, my name is Aman Praveen and I am a second year medical student in Muthukumaran Medical College in India. I am here to teach you necrosis and the difference of my video apart from all those other videos which you have in the list is that all those other videos are focused on the conceptual knowledge of the topic necrosis. But me, I'm gonna be totally focusing it on the university questions and how necrosis has been, showing up in the NEET-PG examination as well as the USMLE. The people who are watching, you probably are falling into these three categories. The first one, those who are preparing for the university exams. The second one, those who are preparing for the NEET-PG exams. The third one, those who are preparing for USMLE Step 1. And then there's the fourth category, probably my friends and family, but they're not in the equation. So without wasting more time, let's jump into the topic. Necrosis definition. Necrosis is a pathologic process due to severe cell injury characterized by denaturation of cellular proteins, leakage of cellular contents through damaged membranes, local inflammation, and enzymatic digestion of lethally injured cells. It's basically a form of cell death which is caused due to a big injury. And the major cause of cell injuries is oxygen depletion. Oxygen depletion, and the most common in that is ischemia. So, what's ischemia? You know,
By the
less
way,
supply
I
of
have
blood.
prepared notes on
The
necrosis
prolonged ischemia
by covering the aspects
uh,
of
leads to
USMLE, NEET
impairment of
PG,
the
and the university questions.
P2C chain,
The link is in the
and
description
because of
box.
that,
So, yeah,
there's
go
less
check it out.
production of
It's for free.
ATPs. ATP is that energy units, energy packets, which help the cell to work. And when that depletes, the cytoplasm, their calcium level increases, and because of that increase, two things happen. One is the activation of enzymes, the enzymes which break down those enzymes, and then there's calcium deposition in the mitochondria. So the calcium deposition in the mitochondria leads to this specialized appearance of the mitochondria known as amorphous densities in the mitochondria. It's really important. Those need PG and USMLE preference focus. And then activation of enzymes. Uh, Three enzymes get activated mainly. Those are the phospholipases, proteases, and nucleases. Phospholipases, phospholipids. Where are they? Phospholipids. Phospholipid bilayer. Yeah, you got it right. It's the cell membrane. The cell membrane liases. It gets damaged. Cell membrane gets damaged. When the cell membrane gets damaged, what happens? The stuff which is inside the cell, it goes out. That's cellular leakage. And then proteases. Those proteins present in those cells get broken down. Proteins means enzymes also included. And then nucleases. See, there's three main stuff which happens in a cell damage. Those three are uh, poikinosis, karyolysis, karorexis. I don't know how it's spelled actually. So kinosis, that is condensation of the nucleus fibers. DNA fibers gets shortened again. And then karyohexis, that is breakdown, cutting it into smaller fragments. Then karyolysis, lysis is total breakdown. DNAs are broken into those basic subunits, DNA. So it's like those pentose sugars, and then that phosphate group, and then that nucleic acid, yeah, something like that. Okay. So, and then those, wait, those NEET PG and USMLE students, focus. This is for you actually. The necrotic tissues and what all, I mean, which necrotic tissue gets damaged and what intracellular proteins is released. They ask it quite a bit. So when the cardiac muscle undergoes necrosis, troponin gets released. And when the bile duct becomes necrosed, alkaline phosphatase gets released. And when the hepatocytes, those cells in the liver, get necrosed, transaminase gets released. So, yeah. The main topic and focus for those university questions is the morphology patterns of necrosis. So there's like six really specific changes occurring. So it might be coagulative, liquefactive, gangrenous, caseous, fatty, and fibrinoid necrosis. So there's like six, and the gangrenous has like wet and dry type, and I think other two types. So let's see it. Now we're gonna see coagulative necrosis. Coagulative necrosis is mainly due to ischemia, and what happens is uh, the digestion of the cell doesn't take place actually. The cell dies, but digestion doesn't takes place. It's finally broken down by the lysozymes secreted by the leukocytes, which come days after. So because there's no breakdown, it just constricts, dehydrates up the end, and then what happens? It becomes into a firm texture. It becomes rigid, and the cellular outline is present, but the nucleus is lost. So yeah, it's seen almost everywhere except the brain and the CNS. That's important, okay? And uh, yeah, localized area of coagulative necrosis is known as an infarct. Infarct is, cardiac infarction, myocardial infarction, something like that. You get the idea. The next is liquefactive. First of all, I would like the viewers to, I'm just, going through the topics. It would be more helpful for you if you, open your textbook. I'm asking a lot, but open your textbook and look into it. As I say, hear what I'm saying and focus on what all points I'm going through. So, liquefactor. In this, digestion takes place. Yeah. And it's, when digestion takes place, it becomes, ooh, before it's like firm, that necrosed tissue is firm. But here it's in a viscous fluid like thing. Excuse me. It's mostly because of the bacterial or occasionally fungal infections, which stimulate leukocyte accumulation. It's basically these bacterias and all. They induce that immune reaction and call up leukocytes. Come, I'm here for a fight. And the leukocytes come and they throw out their punches. They throw out their enzymes. And that enzymes and those leukocytes all together with that viscous thing, it forms a creamy yellow appearance, which is pus formation. And it's mainly seen in brain infarction, in abscesses, and in pancreatitis. Yeah, I spelled that right. So the next one is gangrenous necrosis. This is just a surgical term. It's nothing special. It's usually said to a limb which is necrosed. A limb, yeah, it's a gangrenous necrosis, especially for the lower limb. It seems. I don't know. I'm not a surgeon yet, but it is what it is. So there's like two types. One is the dry one is the wet one. So the dry one, it's due to ischemia and more like coagulated. The wet one is because of infection of a limb, and it's like leukofactive necrosis. The other gangrenous necrosis are noma gangrenous necrosis, which is of the vulva or mouth, and then there's the Fournier's gangrene, which is of the scrotum. This is like an important point for those USMLE step 1 preparants. It's important. Caseous necrosis. It's a characteristic of the tuberculous infections to form caseous necrosis, and it gives a cheese-like appearance, which is also friable white appearance, and it's a combination of coagulative and liquefactive necrosis. Because cheese, it's semi-solid, and coagulative is solid, and liquefactive is liquid. So liquid solid, it's liquid semi-solid, you get it. And the examples are important for those NEET-PG preparants: syphilis, histoplasma, and TB. And in these necrosed areas, there's this appearance of granuloma, and which is seen in those infections. The next is fatty necrosis. Fatty necrosis is mainly due to fat destruction. Fat destruction may be caused by a lot of things. For example, pancreatic lipases might be released into the fatty tissue area, or there might be some sort of an impact, beating to that fat. For example, car accident, a front colliding car accident for a female. The female breast has fat, and when it goes into an impact, it gets trauma, right? And that causes fatty necrosis. It has a characteristic appearance of chalky white areas, which is due to fat sapponification. I think it's something of a cleaning thing, sapponification, which is mainly due to those fatty acids get combined with those calcium ions and form a chalky white appearance. Seen those when they observe it in the histology thing or in a microscope, those fatty cells show a shady outline, and those calciums, right, it goes and deposits and forms a basophilic appearance, and you can see inflammatory reactions. So these examples are trauma to the fat, especially the breast or omentum, and pancreatitis. So the last necrosis is fibrinoid necrosis. It's a special form of necrosis. It's due to fibrinoid neck and vascular damage, and it's associated with the immune reactions. So the word I want you to remember uh, is immune reactions and vascular damage. It's because those when there's an infection, those immune system sends those WBCs, leukocytes, to defend it, and those cells form a complex, a immune complex, and those along with those, when there's cell death, there's proteins going out of the cell, leak proteins in the plasma. So these proteins, plasma proteins, and those immune complexes combine together and give a bright pink amorphous appearance, which is fibrin like. See, when you have your textbook open, and as I say, there are these histology diagrams in your textbook, which you can view it, and it's easier for you to understand. And those examples are malignant hypertension. Oh, this one shows up again and again. I've seen it like 3 4 times in those question banks. Malignant hypertension, rheumatic heart diseases, and vasculitis. So yeah, we have we have covered necrosis topic, and I hope you learned something out of it. I hope this video was beneficial for you, and please show your support. Click the like button, uh, share your comments. I mean, whatever you have to say, just let me know in the comment section. I'll reply it to you probably because I'm free right now. And I mean, for the topics, if you want some specific topics which I need to be covering, and if there needs to be some sort of change, you can let me know and subscribe to my channel. And as always, be awesome.